So I found myself in the FM space based on essentially what I've been doing all the while. So prior to starting Venco, I used to work in upstream oil and gas as an ERP consultant, specifically an SAP consultant. So lots of communities are adopting technologies to solve their problems. So again, we approach it from what are the problems and then what is the most efficient way to solve them. One of the biggest topics in communities now is energy and how energy is distributed and accounted for. And this is where the concept of prepaid utility meters come in. So Venco has its own brand of prepaid utility meters that it sells and finances. The good thing about the brand of meters we sell is that you can also see your real-time online consumption so that the information is not hidden from you and it is clear that you are paying for what you consumed.
So technology is the future.
Is the future.
And there's no doubt about that.
Okay.
Of course, its impact in FM can also not be overemphasized.
Exactly.
With this AI, IoT, and the likes, what risk is FM industry exposed to by heavy dependence on technology?
So I think that it is a game of eternal vigilance, really, where essentially what you need to be doing is to be making sure that on a frequent and periodic basis, you are appraising your systems, testing them for vulnerabilities, and where you find them, patching them as quickly as possible so as not to be exposed to compromise.
Hello viewers, welcome to yet another episode of FM Moment with Segun Adebayo, a platform where we engage on conversations that is insightful and educative. Today, we'll be speaking about technology, how technology is a critical enabler of FM in Nigeria, Africa, and maybe globally. And to do justice to this conversation today is no other person but someone who I am curiously going to ask how he finds himself in FM space. Is no other person than Chude Osiegbu, founder and CEO of Venco. Mr. Chude, good to have you on the podcast.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Chude is a man of many parts. And my worry, I'm sure that will be put to rest today. Because my first question is to satisfy my curiosity. How do you find yourself in FM space? Going by the fact that you've been in oil and gas all the while, how and what brought you into facility management space?
Great question. And thanks again for having me here. So I found myself in the FM space based on essentially what I've been doing all the while. So prior to starting Venco, I used to work in upstream oil and gas as an ERP consultant, specifically an SAP consultant. So I was responsible along with my team for managing the business operating systems for these companies. I also then happened to live in estates and had found that they were facing challenges with many aspects of their operations. And when I did a pattern matching, one was able to find that, well, these are essentially businesses operating with many of the same constraints and challenges that the types I had served before were. As an example, they had issues with collections, billing, some of them had issues with utilities vending, access control, and all of that. And you will agree with me that when you go into many corporates today, all of those things are at play, from access control to enter the places, to billing for their vendors and suppliers, and billing for their customers as well. And I was able to essentially draw the parallels between that and see that the systems I'd been building in upstream oil and gas could also apply to these communities. And in short, that's how I found myself in the space. So I decided to then build a system or a platform to solve these issues, but contextualized for residential real estate and now corporate real estate as well.
So you are a system builder?
Yes, basically.
So you saw opportunity and you went straight for it?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Of course, FM, by definition, is also a multidisciplinary interest where you have people, processes, and of course places driven by technology. So there's a clear integration among those four elements: people, places, process, and technology. So you must have run into this definition somehow. That's why your thinking faculty goes to the fact of adding value where you stay. Interestingly, you must have been doing this for a while now. And our last episode was talking about FM in the past, present, and future. And I recall that during that episode, the guest was speaking to the future. And around his conversation about the future sits strongly technology. And here we are, this episode, we're talking about technology as a critical enabler. And I want to emphasize critical enabler because the world is a global village. And there's no way you want to excel or succeed in this world without technology.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, from your experience, what do you think, or how do you think technology has been a critical enabler? I just wanted to highlight and just narrow down to specifics that how has technology been a critical enabler?
Yes, in the FM space.
FM space.
Yes. I mean, it's been a critical enabler. Lots of communities are adopting technologies to solve their problems. So again, we approach it from what are the problems and then what is the most efficient way to solve them. Invariably, you'll find that technology is playing a space there, or taking a space there, or playing a part. Very handy examples are security. So today, there are very few communities that you go to where you aren't asked for some sort of code or, access device. And that's one place where technology is playing. So it can be everywhere from an app that is used to verify codes that are generated by the by the hosts.
Residents.
Yes. Or it could be RFID tags that are not too dissimilar from what you have on the expressways at the toll gates, but these ones are applied to communities. Yeah. But again, of course, a community is an ecosystem that needs to be sustained. And that sustenance comes from the contributions that the residents and occupants make towards the upkeep of the community. So that is not trivial in anything but the smallest community. So if you have a community of 10 people or more, you'll find that coordinating all of that billing, collection, reconciliation, and all of those types of things, it can be a headache, right? So that's another place that technology plays. So Venco is what we call an industry-specific enterprise resource planning platform, which basically says that it is solving the same business problems that you see in diverse types of businesses, but oriented and customized for real estate. So the whole process of billing for service charges, annual dues, and other types of collections, collecting them, reconciling all of those things, but in an automated way that immediately brings transparency and accountability. That's another application of, technology in community. One of the biggest topics in communities now is energy and how energy is distributed and accounted for, right? And you'll find an increasing trend where many of these communities are now retailing energy to the households through prepaid utility meters in a bid to make sure that they accurately collect, for what people have consumed, and that they are in a position where at the end of the month, they can actually pay their utility provider without scrambling, to find or locate funds, or without suffering the indignity of being disconnected because they haven't paid. There are quite a number of other scenarios, but these are at least three.
Okay, so I'm excited about this, your analysis, but I'm equally worried about a factor that you mentioned, energy.
Yeah.
So are you saying you've used technology in the areas, in the communities you operate to manage the rancors and the challenges around energy payment, energy distribution, and the likes?
Yes. So definitely. So one of the biggest issues in managing a community, especially the variety that developers are now building, which are like heavily integrated communities of reasonable size, is that allocating the cost of energy we consume, right? So I equate it to, we all went to a restaurant, right? You and I went out to lunch. I ate pounded yam, egusi, rice, jollof, and all of that, and you just had a coffee. But at the end of the month, or sorry, at the end of that meal,
day.
when the bill comes, I ask you to share it 50-50 with me, right?
That's discriminatory.
It's unreasonable, it's discriminatory, and it's cheating, because you're basically giving value to somebody who didn't,
Enjoy the value.
enjoy the value, or asking them to pay for it. It's exactly the same thing in an estate. So during the month, we're all consuming energy. I have the 8 ACs in my house running full blast, and you are conserving and managing the energy. Why should we pay the same thing at the end of the month? And this is where the concept of prepaid utility meters come in. So Venco has its own brand of prepaid utility meters that it sells and finances. And essentially, what happens is that with the prepaid utility meter, you pre-fund your spend, your consumption, and then you are only billed for what you consume, right? And when you've run out of, balance on the meter, you top up again. The good thing about the brand of meters we sell is that you can also see your real-time online consumption, so that the information is not hidden from you, and it is clear that you are paying for what you consumed. So that's the problem that we are solving for in many communities, because even now you will find a lot of communities where they'll just wait for the bill at the end of the month, share it equally. There's a lot of rancor, annoyance, but because they don't have any better systems, or they don't know about platforms like Venco, they can't do any better, but force people to pay. They're usually paying late. Usually they've been disconnected for a significant amount of time until they can gather the money. So we've taken away all of that stress.
So technology has been quite supportive and a critical enabler in this space.
Yes.
So I'm saying this because one of the critical challenge that a facility manager do encounter in operations is energy. As a matter of fact, if you look at the expense line, energy and power is always a worry and concern.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm surprised to hear that you've used technology to deal with these issues, and it's been seamless. And that I will ask you again. Beyond the technology on energy, a community full of different backgrounds, different minds, and the likes. How sustainable is this practice?
Okay. So that is the practice of using prepaid utility meters?
Using technology.
Oh.
Along those elements you highlighted. How sustainable is this?
It is not only sustainable, it is the future.
Okay.
Right. So let's think about it even beyond the communities. So today you want to move around, you open up your app and book an Uber or a Bolt.
Yeah.
You want to order food, maybe for lunch, you're not at home. You may open up Chowdeck. I want you to think, put it back to you. What aspect of your life today are you not using some sort of app or device, you understand, to make things easier, you understand, to make things more accessible, and to make things quicker, right? So I don't see why FM should be isolated from the overwhelming trend in the larger society, right? And in fact, thinking about it and, the generations coming ahead, they are technology first generations. So even if these things were not in place and we're already putting them in place, they will demand them because this is how they have come to understand interacting with life through apps, through technology, and so on and so forth.
So technology is the future.
Is the future.
And there's no doubt about that.
No
of course, its impact in FM can also not be overemphasized.
Exactly.
Interesting to hear. I used to be in the banking, and by virtue of my role at a point in order, I became a signatory. And of course, we're also using technology to do funds transfer and the likes. I'm always very wary because I'm a risk-averse person.
Yes.
And my level of worry, I'm always afraid to initiate transaction or conclude as the case may be. Not because I didn't want to do it, but because of my experience or my fear. And that takes me to my next question. And before I do that, I'm going to do that with an illustration. when we're trying to strengthen our IT platform in the bank, I used to work in a non-bank financial institution. So we had some consultants who came to install some apps and some, like a firewall, if I could use that word. And because it's also regulatory, it's something that every member of the staff must be aware of. So one day, when we're doing a post-installation training, the guy showed us a screen of how they were able to break into a system, an aviation company system, bought tickets, checked in, and stopped from boarding.
Wow.
And that was done by a fake effort, as the case may be. He also went further to say that some of our devices, maybe our cards and the likes, can also be compromised. So my question, with this AI, IoT, and the likes, what risk is FM industry exposed to by heavy dependence on technology?
I think this is a great question, especially given the specific time that we're living in. So with the advent of very powerful AI tools, you're finding that systems that many people used to think were closed and protected and secure are now being laid bare, right? So I don't think that anybody anywhere can guarantee 100% safety when it comes to anything, but specifically technology and solutions. So even as we speak, in the last month or so, very high profile, massive, well-funded organizations, right at the top of the technology chain, have either had some sort of compromise or the other, on their systems. So I think that it is a game of eternal vigilance, really, where essentially what you need to be doing is to be making sure that on a frequent and periodic basis, you are appraising your systems, testing them for vulnerabilities, and where you find them, patching them as quickly as possible so as not to be exposed to compromise. It's the same thing in FM. So for example, these prepaid utility meters that we are talking about rely on a vending system. And a vending platform, if compromised, can then mean that people can be accessing energy without paying, right? So there are a number of levels of checks. So just like how you said in the financial institution that you worked in, they would have had a lot of, governance, risk, and compliance processes that they need to put in place. So these are the things that responsible organizations, especially in our own space as well, should be doing. We do them, which is that we are constantly auditing our frameworks, our platforms. We are constantly auditing our apps, and then we are always striving to improve the processes, especially the sensitive ones that have to do with processing money, giving value, and stuff like that. So it really still boils down to the structures and the processes that you put in place in your GRC. But yes, there is a significant risk that if you don't get it right, then the material losses may occur, or even security issues. So remember again, access control. So not even just on the energy side. If you let in the wrong person into the estate, there's a major estate recently that had to shut down the whole shortlet operations within, their space. Again, because of some kind of, leakages or access, granted into the community that, they couldn't control. Yeah. So some of those things, are surfaces where risk can precipitate if you don't put the right things in place. So it's technology comes with a lot of convenience, value creation, and addition, but also, if not properly managed, it comes with some risk. So the key is to balance all of these things. But the truth is that nobody can, in today's world, can guarantee you 100% fully secure system. It is always something that you have to keep, patching and adapting. Yeah. So
I hear you. just like everyday life, we are all exposed to risk.
Exactly.
I think the strength is also the ability to also put in some proper mitigants.
Yes.
And also when there is a risk manifesting, as the case may be, one needs to also look through, understand, and learn from that exposure, as the case may be. So let me take you a bit off the curve now, and I want to speak to FM practice in Nigeria. With your interactions here and there, I know you had a conference sometimes last year.
Yes.
And I'm sure with that conference, you must have done some post review.
Yes.
And you had quite a number of people operating in built environment speak there. So what has been your personal interaction with the industry, FM industry per se, and what are the things you think can be better done, in that space?
Okay, great. Yeah. So I mean, I'll give my view of it when we started and my view of it now. Okay. So when we started, the FM space seemed to be resistant to technology. So the amount of energy that needed to be spent to open their eyes to the value that some of these new technologies, bring, seemed to be a lot. But as with everything, when the time comes, right? So today, what we see is that we see a lot of practitioners, actively adopting these technologies and actually going out to seek them, and in fact contributing to the evolution of the technology. So, the first step is to adopt, and then the next step is, improve. Yeah, so we are seeing a lot of feedback from our customers, for example, on things we could be doing, how we could better implement our systems, opportunities that we may not even be harnessing that already exist. So we do have customers actually approach us to pitch ideas to us, which for me is so refreshing and, encouraging vis-a-vis when initially we started with this. So initially, what you would find is that there was a divide in that the people who needed it because they had got into some sort of problem, you didn't need to preach to them. But those who had not yet experienced that issue, yes, were on the fence and, dubious about whether we should go. Yes, exactly. But over time, I think, again, a bit of a snowball effect. As you look around, and also people are moving between organizations. So many times what you're finding is that somebody is bringing a best practice from where they used to be into a new organization. That's also a way that we spread as well in terms of, adoption of our platform. So that's what we are seeing now.
So at first, resistance.
Yes.
But now there's a level of embracement
Yes.
the need for us to do technology.
Exactly.
Especially whereby around you, we have some Gen Zs who cannot even move a step without embracing technology.
Without an app, yes.
And so, in all this, did you see any threat?
So when you say threats, define that.
Okay, so did you see any threat in deepening technology within the FM space?
No. If again, aside from threats that come with adopting technology generally, which is that in making your life easy, don't also expose your business to risk, or compromise. I don't see any threats. In fact, if anything, I see more opportunities for technology to be embedded. So if we again take the energy space, yes, so we've done this whole prepaid metering thing at a sub-metering level, at an estate level. But estates are also struggling from time to time around the economics of how they price the energy and all of those things. So seeing that, we've also done a bit more now. So we now have sensors that you can install on your generators and on your transformers to measure how much energy they output, how much diesel they consumed, and all of those things then add up to tell you what is the ideal tariff that you should have charged to make sure that you recover the costs that you've taken.
Interesting.
Interesting. Exactly.
So while trust do exist, it's more of seeing opportunity.
Yes, exactly.
So you don't look at the dark side, look at the bright side.
Yeah, we're always thinking about how can we, with the knowledge of technology and the experience we have gained serving these communities, look at the threats and the discomforts that exist and apply that experience to turning it around, making it better, even changing what looked like a disadvantage into a benefit.
I'm just imagining what technology has done to the big elephant in the room of FM practitioners. Operationally, when you manage a residential estate and you have multiple tenants and you have issues of 24 hours power promised and you are unable to deliver. Even when you deliver, there's also challenges around the costs, the kilowatts and the tariffs and the likes. So seeing technology as a critical enabler in this particular space is quite heartwarming for me. It's also speaking to challenges around proactive service delivery. And what do I mean by that? Government is the biggest spender. And that will take me to my next question. So what's your organization doing to also complement the current reality around subnationals generating and distributing their own power themselves now? I mean, Lagos is doing something.
Yes.
I know that other states are also doing.
Yes.
But Lagos is one of the biggest economy
Yes.
in Africa. And a lot happens in Lagos, as the case may be. So is there a positioning that your firm is doing to take advantage of this opportunity by providing solution to energy crisis, energy thefts, especially also helping the FM practitioners in this case to brighten the built? What's your company doing?
Yes. So one of the benefits, I think this month Venco will be in their 600th community.
Really?
Yes. I mean, we are active not just in Nigeria, but we're also active in Kenya and in Ghana. So across all of those domains, we'll be hitting 600 communities before the end of the month. What that comes with is that we have visibility of a lot of data in terms of how communities operate. Because their vending is going through us, we have a sense of how much energy they are purchasing, how much they are spending. We have an idea of what visitor traffic and volumes are, and so many other things. How does this help? What this means is that positioned the right way, we're able to work with, for example, the subnational electricity regulatory commissions to avail them of summary data that helps them to actually fine-tune and orient their policies, right? Because, for example, some of the data, if I give you an aggregated figure of how much energy is being purchased on an annual basis in the Lekki corridor area, where we have hundreds of communities, that can actually serve as a data point and an input in how you roll out your policy. So partnerships like that are things that we are very interested in. So we're interested in partnering with and are actively pursuing partnership with many of these organizations so that we can learn from them and they can also learn from us, because we're on the ground, we have data, we have access, we know the way that our customers think, and what the communities are expecting. One example, for example, is we all know where the cost of diesel is heading. There's a Strait of Hormuz problem, right? Which is causing energy prices to spike. What that is doing is that it is challenging the traditional position of diesel-powered generators as backup energy in communities. We see the spike in spend that is occurring as that cost of diesel is going up, and we also know the locations of all of our communities. We are wondering at one point, the trigger will be pulled such that people will start to withdraw from diesel generators and maybe adopt gas, LNG, right? But not even just adopt that at a community level. Where communities are clustered, you may actually see behavior changing, where communities will gather together to buy
like a shared service
model. Exactly. Right. So these are some of the things that, being on the ground, operating in these communities and having the data can help, to surface And we're happy to work with the necessary organizations and policymakers to use that to the benefit of all of the communities and the environment at large.
Okay. So I'll take you up on data availability.
Yes.
And also usage of that data, mining them for the benefit of the FM community.
Yes.
And when we are back, I've been talking to the founder and CEO of Venco, Chude, and this conversation will continue right after Moment of Fact on FM Moment with Segun Adebayo. See you on the other side. Welcome back. We still have with us founder and CEO of Venco, Chude Osiegbu. And we've been conversing on technology as a critical enabler in FM space. Thank you for being here. Before the break, I hear you loud and clear on the progress and success stories of how you have been able to transform the gated community. I'm sure you've done this with a lot of passion and commitment. So I want to ask you, as you do all this, how has your relationship been with the FM practitioners in those gated community? Has it been more of synergy or otherwise? Because that's also a way to measure compatibility, and also to speak to the resistance you spoke to at the beginning. Has it been quite cordial or has it been hostile, as the case may be? Your relationship with the FM specifics, facility managers in those communities that you operate on.
Yeah, it's been cordial, and it has to be, because really we are just a software platform. The ultimate operator is someone who is playing a facility management role in the community. So in fact, they are our customers. The way we describe Venco is that we are a B2B2C, a business to business to consumer, right? So even though it is the households within the communities that ultimately use our part of our platform, the rest of the platform is built and used by the FMs. So we cultivate a very positive relationship with them. And in fact, they are one of our major vectors for growth, right? And I think that, as I said, yes, even if at the beginning, many of them didn't really understand what this was for.
Resistant.
Yes, we're resistant. But now they are actually the vector and the advocates, accelerating, the trend of adoption of technology. Because what they are seeing is that it's making their lives easier. It's making them look better in front of their ultimate customers, who are the residents or associations or, developers that they work for. And it's also improving or increasing the ability of or the volume of business they are able to do. Because with technology as a facilitator, what you could run, if you could run 5 estates with 10 people before, now you can run 15 estates with the same number of people, creating more value, boosting your revenues, and with greater levels of satisfaction, from on the part of your ultimate customers. So I think that the relationship is great now. They see us as a facilitator. And as I said, they are not just users, but they are now also contributing concepts and ideas as to how we can make these technologies better.
So it's been very symbiotic relationship.
Yes, very.
And very cordial.
Yes.
I'm happy to hear that, because for one of the critical components of FM is also leadership, and ability to also deliver excellently, and something struck me in your response. With the use of technology, the resources you need to do 5 community, you can also use same to do about 15, leveraging on technology. So, how have you been dealing with capacity building?
Yeah, so capacity building is something really important to us because, again, when you have customers, there's a role for education in the broader ecosystem of those customers. So Venco has an FM academy that it runs periodically, where essentially we are trying to teach any FMs who are interested what it looks like to run a technology-enabled business and operations, right? So we've partnered with IFMA and with a few, facility management companies to deliver this. We run it once every quarter. So I
Great.
think that for Q2 will be launching soon.
Okay.
We had a really good batch or cohort in Q1.
Q1.
Yes, exactly. I think we trained about 30 facilities managers
Interesting.
there. Yeah. So beyond that, yes, we're also trying to engage with the broader ecosystem. We are trying to partner with academia in the real estate space, so that even at the point of new people being graduated out of the real estate departments, and for example at a Unilag and all of that, we can get a few of them interested in technology, so that again, they're already interested in it. So just give them a formal platform where they can learn about it, see how it's been done, you understand, and contribute their own energies to.
So your effort has been quite complementary.
Yes.
I mean, going by the import of technology in built environment and FM space, your effort has been so complementary, and I think I have to commend you for that. I mean, it's also very audacious because where you take it to them, and pull them into a space for them to also immerse these gains and benefits. So clearly, you are not only contributing to development of the space, you are also creating an economy, for people to also thrive, as the case may be. And this also feature in the last episode where we spoke extensively about maintenance economy. Now let's bring this home. You are the founder and CEO of Venco. You are not in that space before. You are a business system manager in oil and gas. And because you stay in a gated community, you see opportunities. And I think with your story, you've gone for it. So tell us, what is Venco not doing? The company you found, what are they not doing? Before you tell us more of what they are doing.
They're doing. Okay. So when you ask that question, the thing, how I would say it is, or how I would think about it is, what opportunities exist for us that we are not currently exploiting?
So you turn the question around.
Yes.
So speak to that.
Okay, great. So communities are an aggregation of properties and people living together under some sort of common management. We have built these tools to help streamline operations within these communities, looking at them from the lens of an operating entity that is almost like a business. One of the things that we are doing now, but we hope to do better, right, is if all these people are living together, sharing under some sort of shared services framework, why are we not able to create more opportunities for them to gain value from that their collective, right? We all buy foodstuffs, household items, white goods, and all of that. If I'm in an estate with 100 people, 500 people, 1,000 people, and they're already using the same platform, should we not be able to use that platform to coordinate bulk purchase of food items, for example, and bulk purchase of other services?
Bringing the markets into them.
Bring the market onto the platform, into the estate, and then take advantage of the economies of scale that they already have naturally but are not exploiting to get them better value for the things that they will buy anyway. So that's one of the things that, a thesis that we've been working on for quite a while. We built out the tools and the platform, but we are still iterating on the best way to deliver it. So that, for me, is a big opportunity that we are yet to fully exploit.
Interesting. So you are trying to commercialize or expand the level of commerciality of your platform beyond the essentials.
Yes, exactly. Beyond
the basis
exactly
of congregating together in the community.
Yes. Let me put it this way. So we think about it as in solving the issues in communities, one of the side effects is that you then have a large number of people on your platform using that platform to access their community services. Why must it be only the community that provides services on that platform? If you're selling something that consumers and households in communities use, we should be able to find a way for you to plug into the platform so
And
that they have
showcase-
visibility of
showcase
what you
your
are
stuff.
doing. Exactly. So it not only are you then creating business opportunities for those who would serve communities, you are getting them better value because you are bringing lots of things to them, and you are helping them to realize their collective bargaining power. You understand? Yeah. So it's something we are treating on. It will work, but we are still looking at the best way to.
So this will happen in the nearest future.
Yes.
So Venco is in Nigeria.
Yes.
Venco is in Ghana.
Yes. And
That's
in Kenya as well.
in Kenya. So do you want to analyze or highlight those markets in terms of economic stability or gains, as the case may be?
Yeah. Okay.
Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya.
Yeah. So they're all great markets. Of course, the predominance of our distribution and our work is still in Nigeria.
Okay.
But we are seeing amazing traction in Kenya,
Okay.
right? And then followed by Ghana. Each of these markets have their own nuances, of course, dictated by maybe cultural norms, in each of the communities. So I would say that the biggest market for us is still Nigeria. It's the place where the realization of the value that we are adding is very clear and stark. And I think is that snowball effect, after a certain critical mass, everybody comes to expect these things. We are seeing that point being reached in Kenya as well. And we are working on it for Ghana. So in Ghana, we are adopting, different strategies. But again, the key thing is to understand the cultural outlook of each of these different places and then adapt and fine tune, your offering, to meet them, at the point of their
So your
understanding.
takeoff in Ghana and Kenya, FM and technology, did you also experience some resistance?
Yes, I think the resistance, the pattern is the same across. Yes,
across board.
The truth is that we are not too different.
Okay.
You
So
understand?
we are all
Yes.
of the same source.
Yes,
as the case
exactly.
may be.
Yes.
So you want to juxtapose the efficiency of FM in Nigeria against Ghana and Kenya. What can you say about the level of collaborative engagement you've had to deliver your service?
So you see, the thing about it is that FM is slightly different in all of these places. So
Across
the model that you're going to find in Nigeria, for example, is that someone builds an estate and hires an FM organization to help them run it, or has their own FM organization,
Okay.
right? Maybe at some point, you will also find communities that have associations that want to do the same, and they may decide to run it themselves, or decide to hire people. The large pattern or the predominant pattern in Nigeria is that in most communities, ownership is diversified.
Okay.
So I buy my house, you buy your house, and all of that. So we literally have to come together and cooperate, right?
To be on the same page.
Be on the same page. If you look at a Kenya, for example, especially in Nairobi, the model you find is less spread out estates, more apartment blocks.
Okay.
Right. And in many of the cases that we're coming across, ownership it's one person that owns
The entire block.
the entire block. Right. What that then does is that it changes the nature of the relationship, because there you are typically talking to an owner.
It's mono.
Yes. And in
Compared to-
Nigeria, you are talking to a facility manager who is managing
for
a variety of
Interesting.
people. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a bit mixed in Ghana, right? A bit, very. But essentially, those different setups then necessarily require a different, approach. In Nairobi, for example, you will also talk less about facility managers and talk more about property managers
Okay.
who are almost like caretakers. So even if I had a flat in an apartment block, I will probably give it to a caretaker. What it means is that there's a lot more independence in terms of how individual units are run in a Nairobi landscape than there is in
Ghana
in
and
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. Yes, we've been talking to founder and CEO of Venco, my friend Chude Osiegbu. And I trust that it's been an interesting and rewarding engagement for all our listeners and viewers. So your parting shots, what do you see FM or built environment become in the next 24 months?
In the next 24 months, okay, so I have a number of things that just popped to mind. If we take residential, for example, 24 months, we'll probably see some short to medium-term pain in many of the residential built environments purely because of energy and the things happening around, because of energy. So I see a recalibration coming around how they manage, distribute, pay for energy. And I see that there will be a turning point where perhaps we will move from backup energy being predominantly diesel generators to maybe more gas-powered, type things. But there's some short-term pain coming up because, for example,
like a transition period.
Yes, a year ago, a liter of diesel was 1,300 naira. Now it's around
It's close
2,000.
to
Exactly. So that is already causing some shocks. The pain is already being felt. Yes.
It's there.
So that's on that side on the on energy. I see increasing adoption of technology. The operators of these communities are seeing very clearly that there are benefits here. On the build side, with the emphasis on the builds, I think that still this energy issue that we are seeing is going to have a knock-on effect on how buildings are delivered. So when energy was not a thing, right? I'll use this as an illustration. In the estate where I live now, the era when diesel was 200 and 300 naira a liter, people spent, they used energy anyhow and all of that, till there was that spike that went up to that.
Thousands.
And we had to recalibrate and reanalyze that the generators that we were using were beyond capacity. So what it meant is that we were burning diesel that was not adding value to anybody. And we had to sell those generators and buy new ones. I think that's going to happen again, and that's where we may see the transition to gas-powered generators. But also, I think it is going to start to influence the ways that houses are built. Because today, it is not clear that they are built with energy efficiency in mind. That is why in many places, you'll find that you can't live comfortably if you don't have your ACs on and everything. If there's a blackout, your house becomes very uncomfortable. I think that houses can be built in a way that they can operate efficiently with minimal draw on energy. And even when there's no energy, they can be comfortably lived in. And it just takes a bit of change in design philosophy and, thinking. So I see that as a more medium to long-term impact, of what the contemporary events, will have on us.
So in all this, FM should roll their sleeves and also get ready.
And get ready to work.
To work.
Yes.
Interestingly, Chude has thrown so much light into technology as a critical enabler in FM and built environments. And I'm sure that you've all been well benefited from our conversation today. I'll also ask you as we close finally. Is there an inroad to government estates or institutions as an enabling tool by Venco? Are you in that space?
So we do serve some communities that are government developed or owned or co-managed.
Experience?
No, the experience has been great. I mean, the 3 or 4 I have top of mind, are all functioning, seamlessly, efficiently. Yes,
and no rebellion from any angle.
Not as far as
no trust issues.
No, at least yes, exactly. We are operating efficiently there. They are seeing the value in the platform, and we are keen to work again with government on.
Open to that.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Chude, for coming around.
It's
been a rewarding episode of FM Moment with Segun Adebayo. Please join us on our social media handles, and please follow us on those handles as we continue to engage, converse, and discuss insightful and educative conversations on FM Moment with Segun Adebayo. I remain your host, Segun Adebayo. top global FM influencer. See you next time, and God bless.